Hi there, welcome to CR's online application workshop. My name is Megan and I'm going to be walking you through the steps of filling out our online application. This will be applicable if you are new to College of the Redwoods, new to the community college in general, or a returning student. So stick around and we will walk through the process together. The goal for today's video is to cover 2 applications you will need to complete in order to sign up for classes with College of the Redwoods. The first step is completing the Open CCC application. This centralized application allows you to easily apply for any community college within the state of California. If you are a returning student or have ever taken classes with any other community college in the state of California, you are in luck. This application only needs to be completed one time. If you have previously completed the Open CCC application, just hang tight. I will show you how to jump to the CR admissions application in just a few moments. The second goal is our CR admissions application. This lets us know that you are interested in coming to CR specifically, and it will need to be completed by all new CR students and any returning students who have taken 1 or more semesters off. Before we start the Open CCC application, here is a quick checklist of information that will be helpful to have in front of you. Please be prepared to enter your social security number if you have one, and use your full legal name and provide an active email address. You will also be asked to provide a mailing and a physical address. For many, this might be one and the same. There is one section that asks for your permanent address, and it will not accept a PO box. If you do not have all this information in front of you, and you need to complete the Open CCC application, I recommend you pause this video here, because once you have everything in front of you, the applications will go much faster. If you are ready to get started, the first step will be to navigate to College of the Redwoods homepage, and that is at www.redwoods.edu. That's www.redwoods.edu. Now that you have navigated to our homepage, I'm going to give a general step-by-step overview of the application process. If you find yourself having a question that is not answered in this video, we have some resources listed on our website that will be useful. At the top of our website, you will see a link that says COVID-19 updates for CR students, faculty, staff, and community. If you click on this link, it will take you to a webpage dedicated to providing resources and contact information for different departments who can help answer specific questions. To start both the Open CCC application and the CR admissions application, click the big check mark at the top right of the screen that says Apply. This will take you to our Getting Started at CR page. Under Getting Started at CR, you'll see steps 1 through 7. We are not doing all 7 today, just that step 1. You'll go ahead and click on step 1, Apply. So under Apply to College of the Redwoods, you'll see the link that says CR's admissions application in blue, and you'll want to go ahead and click that. I promised I would tell you how to skip to the CR admissions application, and we are at that point now. If you have previously completed the Open CCC application, click the Sign In button. You should have created a login and password when you created the account originally. If you don't remember one or the other, the Recover Tools and Helpline are both really handy. You cannot create a new CCC Apply account. This sign-in process is also how you will get back to an admissions application you have not completed or submit another application to either a different community college or if you have taken a break and are deciding to come back to CR. For folks who are completely new to the community college system, first we need to walk through the Open CCC application by clicking Create an Account. The next screen lets you know that you must have an email address to complete the Open CCC application. You will be given an email address through College of the Redwoods, but Open CCC and CR need to have a way to contact you prior to your CR email being issued. To continue, simply click the blue button that says Begin Creating My Account. Remember when I mentioned you will want to use your legal name for this application? This section of the application specifically asks for your legal name. Please make sure you're using the name that would appear on your ID, like a driver's license, a social security card, or a passport. This helps ensure that all your information is linked appropriately throughout your academic career. Then it will ask if you have a previous name, such as a maiden name. Click yes or no. If you click yes, it will ask for that information. The next question asks if you have a preferred name. If you go by your middle name or nickname, we want to honor that in how we communicate with you day to day. If you prefer to go by your legal name, just click no. The date of birth you're putting in the system is the same date of birth that would match the identification that you would show for your legal name. The only thing with the date of birth section is that for some reason you slightly type the day or the year wrong on one of the lines, it will not let you continue until both lines match. So just make sure that your date of birth line matches your confirmed date of birth line. I get a lot of questions about this next section. This is a section asking to provide a social security number. You actually have the option to provide either your social security number or your taxpayer identification number. Both options are totally fine. It seems like most folks just decide to go with social security number. Make sure that you select which number you're entering before you type the number in. If you don't do this and press continue, it will make you type it all over again. When entering social security number or the taxpayer identification number, type the same number into both boxes with no dashes or spaces. If you do not have a social security number, there is a box at the bottom that says check this box if you do not have a social security or taxpayer identification number. If you are unsure, there is also a link to exceptions that you can click on for more information. Once you are done filling out the social security or taxpayer identification number section, you should be able to scroll down and press continue. If for some reason a red box appears, this just means you either missed information or information was inconsistent, so go ahead and update that, and then you should be able to go ahead and continue on to the next page. So this next section is going to ask for an email, telephone, and address. I don't have the address shown up on the screen. I had to get a little creative since I have done this application once before and you can only do it one time. But just so you know, it's going to go ask for your email and then a telephone number and finally a permanent address. So for that email, you want to put in an email that you use regularly. Make sure you put it in the same twice. If you don't, it's going to give you an error message. And then that telephone number, you actually only need to put one telephone into the system. So if you have one phone number that is your main point of contact, that's fine. Just make sure you only put it in once. If you put the same phone number in twice, it will give you an error and won't let you continue. And then if you don't have an extension, that's totally fine. Just go ahead and leave that section blank. And then I don't have it up on the screen, but if you scroll down, it'll also ask for your permanent address. That is going to be the section that a PO box does not work in. So make sure that you have an address that's not a PO box, and then you'll be able to go ahead and put that in and go on to the next page. Again, if for some reason a box is highlighted in red, that just means that it's inconsistent information or you just missed a spot, and just go ahead and double check that before you can continue. So this next portion of the application is going to ask you to create a username and password. You might remember that I previously mentioned that the username and password you create in the Open CCC application is the one that you will use to get into your admissions application. And that's true. So I highly encourage you to consider taking the 30 seconds after you create this username and password and it's accepted to go ahead and either put it in notes section of your phone or write it down somewhere safe. Because this will be that username and password you will use to log in to the account to either pick up where you left off on the CR admissions application, or if you're interested in applying to multiple community colleges, this username and password is going to be the same across all of them. So again, take that 30 seconds, write it down, you'll be happy you did, and then you don't have to worry about if you remember it or not. We have just a couple more questions and then you are actually done with that Open CCC application. So that first question at the top of the screen asks for your security PIN. The PIN is a 4-digit number that you are creating to help recover your account should you need to do that. So I would pick something that has meaning or is 4 digits that you can remember, maybe write it down with that username and password you just created. And then the security questions are going to be pretty standard security questions. You will need to pick 3 and answer all 3. I think they have to be at least 3 characters long in the answer. Then go ahead, check on I'm not a robot, and then a CAPTCHA will pop up. And then once you have submitted that, you will finally be able to click on Create My Account, and that will take you to the confirmation screen that you have created your Open CCC account. So once you click Create an Account, you will go ahead and pop up to this Account Created screen. This is your confirmation screen that you have finished the CCC Apply process. Your CCC ID will pop up. That will be different than your CR student ID. So just make note that your CR student ID will be different than the CCC ID here. You should be able to click Start a New Application, and that'll take you right to the CR Admissions Application page. Now we are officially in the CR Admissions Application portion of this video. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the different categories that we're going to be going through. So we're starting with enrollment and then account and education, and we're going to work through each of those. You'll see a green check mark next to them as you complete them. So the first question it is asking is the term you will be applying for. So that's the term that you're planning to start classes. If you're planning to start with us in fall, then go ahead and select fall 2020. If you aren't starting in the fall, then go ahead and select the appropriate term that you are planning to start in. The next section is going to be your educational goal. Now this is actually going to be a personal selection. So we ask that you consider, why are you attending CR? Is it to obtain a 2-year degree and go into the workforce? Are you thinking to take 2 years of your general education and then move to a 4-year program? Or are you trying to get a short-term certificate in career education? So there's a long list of options. This is gonna be maybe a little overwhelming. I recommend you just do your absolute best. There is technically an undecided option at the very bottom of the drop down. If you're completely undecided, just do your best with why you're thinking you're planning to come to College of the Redwoods, and you can always talk to a counselor or advisor and change that as you go. So same thing with intended major or program. We actually do not have an undecided option here, so you will need to pick something. Just do your best. If it's the closest to what you're thinking to study, and then again, this can be a conversation with a counselor or advisor if you'd like to change that. Now, I will warn you that if you are trying to take classes for credit, so you are trying to get an associate's degree or a certificate, you want to make sure that you are not choosing one that says non-credit, so NC at the end. If you do that, then you will have to do this application portion again. We want to make sure that you're picking a program that has credit units associated with it. So again, just make sure when you're picking, and if you don't have any idea, just pick the closest option that you see on the list, and then you can always meet with a counselor or advisor and nail that down a little bit further. Once you have made your selection, go ahead and press continue to keep going with the application. So this next section is going to be a quick review of your account information. If you just completed that open CCC application, it's probably all up to date because that's where they're pulling the information. If for some reason you're coming back from a break and that information is outdated, just please go ahead and update it for us. And then the next section is going to be asking for your current mailing address. If your permanent address and your mailing address are one and the same, then you can go ahead and click on that box that says my mailing address is the same as my permanent address from the account that you may have just created or previously created. And then that will pull that information automatically so you don't need to type it again. If your address is different for mail and for your physical address, then just go ahead and include that mailing address below so that both are in the system. And then once you do that, go ahead and click continue. So this next section is going to ask questions about education. The first will be college enrollment status. So on the drop down, you might actually have more options than I do. I have, again, done this application previously, so it has used that information to inform what options I have now. So just go ahead and take a look at the list and make sure you're picking the one that makes sense for you. So if you're a first time coming straight out of high school, then you'll pick the first time in college after leaving high school. If you have been to another college but not this one, then you'll select that. Or if you are a returning student who has taken a break and are coming back to CR again, then go ahead and select that option. If there are other options on the list that actually apply more accurately, then you'll go ahead and select that one. Up next is going to ask your high school education. So again, pick the best option for you from that drop down. And then it might ask more follow-up information depending on what you pick. So if you received a high school diploma from a US school, then it's going to ask when you completed high school. The next question is going to ask what was the last high school you attended. So make sure you're picking the correct option that applies to your high school. So if you attended high school, you'll go ahead and click that top option, and then it will ask for more information about what high school you attended. If you are homeschooled or independently homeschooled or did not attend high school, then make sure you're clicking on that instead. But if you attended high school, then you'll go ahead and you'll select that, and then it's going to ask what high school you attended, what state. California is actually going to be located at the top because it assumes the majority of students coming to community college in California are from California. And then you will go ahead and search for the high school in the next bar. So it might take it a second, but you'll go ahead and you'll search, and then a list will pop up based on that search, and you'll pick the school that was the school that you attended. Up next is your high school transcript information. It's going to ask what your unweighted high school GPA was, and then it's going to ask your highest English course and the highest math course that you completed in high school, and what grade you received in each of those. So if it's been a while, do the best you can, but it will want this information in the system before you can go ahead and continue with that application. Once all that information has been put into the application, you will go ahead and press continue, and we will carry on. The next set of questions is going to be about citizenship and military status. So the first question is about citizenship, so you will go ahead and click on the drop down and pick the option that is right for you. You have a choice of U.S. citizen, permanent resident, temporary resident, refugee, student visa, or other. So make sure that you're clicking on the correct one, and then some of them will require more additional information to be put in the system depending on which one you click on. And then next is U.S. military, dependent of military. So again, you will click on the drop down and you pick the option that is correct for you. If you have no military affiliation, then you will just go ahead and say none apply to me. If you or a spouse or guardian are in the military, or you yourself have served in the military, then you're going to want to make sure to choose that option from the drop down. So once you have answered the citizenship and the military question, you will go ahead and continue, and that'll take us to the next section. Up next will be questions about residency. So that first question will be California residence. You're going to be answering, have you lived in California continuously since August 21st of 2018? So if you have lived in California since then, go ahead and click yes. If no, then it's going to ask, when did your current stay in California begin? And you'll just enter that month, day, and year to the best of your ability. And then out-of-state activities trips folks up sometimes. It has a list of questions that it wants to know if you've done any of the out-of-state activities, so paid taxes outside of California, registered to vote outside of California, declared residency at a college or university outside of California, or filed a lawsuit or divorce outside of California. So if none of those are true, if you haven't done any of those things, then just leave it blank. You do not have to select one of the options. You can just leave it blank and keep going on the application if none of them are true. Special residency categories. So if you've ever been in court-ordered foster care, you'll go ahead and click yes, and it'll ask some additional questions. If you have never been in court-ordered foster care, then just go ahead and say no, and then continue. You'll see that we're slowly working our way through each section. On the left-hand side, you'll see green check marks as we work our way down. So the first question under needs and interest is main language. So are you comfortable reading and writing in English? That's just going to be a yes or a no. And then financial assistance. So it's going to ask, are you interested in receiving information about money for college? So again, select yes or no there. And then are you currently receiving TANF, CalWORKS, SSI, or General Assistant? If you are unsure and you are still a dependent, it might be worth it to ask your parent or guardian just to double check before you click yes or no on that one. Up next, the question asks about athletic interest. So it gives you 3 options and you will need to pick one of them. So the first one is yes, I am interested in one or more sports, including the possibility of playing on an intercollegiate team. Yes, I am interested in intramural or club sports, but not playing on an intercollegiate team. Or no, I am not interested in participating in sports beyond taking PE classes. So if you are unsure on what an intercollegiate or intramural or club sports team would look like, there is a link there that you can go ahead and click on to find out more information. The last question on this page asks about programs and services. There's a long list of options to choose from. Not all of them might be familiar, and that's okay. Just take a look at the list, and if there's any that you're at all considering or would like more information on, then just go ahead and click those from the list before you hit continue. More information will be provided to you via email from the programs that you click on. The next set of questions are going to be demographic information. So that first question asks your gender/transgender. So go ahead under gender and click either female, male, non-binary, or you have the option to decline to state. And then do you consider yourself transgender? And again, you select yes, no, or you have the option to decline the state. The next question is about sexual orientation. So again, you have another drop-down option. You have straight or heterosexual, gay or lesbian or homosexual, bisexual, other, or decline to state. Up next, we have the parent or guardian education levels. So it gives you the option to select parent or guardian 1 and parent or guardian 2 and put the highest education level they achieved. If you are unsure and you don't have the ability to ask your parent or guardian, one or both of them, then you can also select unknown to continue the application. So the next questions cover the topics of race and ethnicity. So the first question asks, are you Hispanic or Latino? And you'll go ahead and select yes or no for that one. And then the next question asks for you to check all the ethnicities, nations, and ancestry groups that you identify with. So you have a pretty broad selection, and then if you click on each option, it'll give you a lot more specific options to choose from. So you can answer as specifically or as broad as you'd like, and then once you have answered that, you'll go ahead and click continue. So the next set of supplemental questions will be the last set of questions you answer before you take a look at your application before submitting. So the first question is where you will be attending, so the main location where you will be attending most of your classes. So make sure you're picking Eureka or Del Nor or Klamath Trinity, or if you're planning to take predominantly online courses, you'll say virtual campus. After you've selected your main campus, it's going to ask, will you be a full-time student? So it's asking if you will be planning to take 12 units or more. So if you're planning to take 12 or more units, then you will be considered a full-time student, and you'll go ahead and click yes. If that's not the case, then go ahead and just click no. And then after that, it's going to ask, are you a former CR student returning after missing one or more semesters? So if you have ever taken a class with CR and you've taken a break and you're coming back, then you will go ahead and click yes. This way our system knows to look for your other profile and that we will link everything together. After that, you can click, if you're interested in learning more about CR's honors program, then you can click the box there. Before you hit continue on this page, you're going to have some information about payment of fees and promise to pay. Make sure that you read through that before you hit continue. This is important information about what you are agreeing to as you move forward with registering for classes. So the next section under submission allows you to review your responses before you finally submit the application. I recommend you click on the Review My Application button. It will expand all of the answers that you have previously submitted, and just to double check that everything is up to date. So your term, your educational goal, your major, program of study, your address, all the details that you've submitted. Just take that extra 30 seconds, look it over to make sure everything's good. Now, some of this can be updated with meeting an advisor or counselor, like the educational goal or that major program of study, but some of these answers cannot be updated without submitting a new application. So that's why it's super important you take a look at it. It'll save you time in case anything's wrong before you submit it. So if everything looks good, you can go ahead and click on Hide My Application. It'll shrink it back down again for you, and then it's going to ask a couple of consent to release information questions before you can finally submit. So make sure you read those through and then click on either I consent or I do not consent. There is some information about our privacy policy if you're nervous at all about saying that you consent. And then if you scroll down to submit your application, you are declaring that you are legally who you say you are and you have provided accurate information. After you have read through everything and checked the boxes, then once you go down to the bottom, you will be able to go ahead, select submit, and you are done. Congratulations on finishing the CR's admissions application. So you are probably wondering what your next steps will be in this process. First of all, check your email regularly. This is how CR will get in contact with you, and any programs that you selected that you would like more information will be sending you emails shortly. Also, if you have not done so already, please make sure you fill out the FAFSA application. That can be found on our financial aid webpage on our website. And then finally, I encourage you to visit CR's webpage in general for more information. You can find out more information about the programs of study that you might be interested in, and then as well as how to make an appointment with an advisor, counselor, financial aid, also more information on admissions and records and all of our special programs. So thanks for sticking through the whole video with me, and I hope that this was helpful.